Let me tell you about the kid who learned to disappear. You're small, you're quiet. You love hide and seek more than any other game because in hide and seek, being hidden is the whole point. You watch instead of join, and you listen instead of speak. Your body learned early that if you take up space, something bad might happen. If you stay still and invisible, you might be safe. So you made yourself small. Your voice got quieter. Your presence got smaller, and you learned to read the room without being in it. You learned to anticipate what people needed so you could stay out of the way. You learned that your own needs were dangerous. They might bother people, they might draw attention, or they might make you visible. And invisibility worked. It kept you safe, it kept you out of the crossfire. But here's what people don't understand about the freeze kid. You're not broken and you're not antisocial. You're not actually choosing to be quiet. Your nervous system learned self-control, the ability to pause, to assess, to not demand, to protect your own energy by stepping back from what's unsafe or depleting. And that's not a flaw, that's wisdom in the right context. But in a system where you're never asked what you wanted, where your quietness was mistaken for compliance and praised as being easy, you never really got to know yourself. You never got to practice making your own decisions. You never learned that your voice matters. So you're an adult now, and invisibility has become a permanent address. You're indecisive because nobody ever asked you to decide. You defer to what others want because that's what kept you safe. You might feel depressed because you don't know who you are when nobody's watching. Your energy is depleted because you're still managing everyone else's comfort at the cost of your own. And the hardest part, you have forgotten that you have a choice. That protective stillness that once saved you has become a cage. You don't just know how to be quiet, you're stuck there. The freeze that kept you alive has become the thing that is keeping you from living. People don't see you. And so you've gotten so used to not being seen that you don't know how to be visible. But here's what I want you to know. That ability to pause, to assess, to recognize what's depleting and what's nourishing, that part's not broken. That's discernment. And the question isn't, how do I become louder? It's, how do I be able to take up more space? The question is, what deserves my energy? What matters enough to break my silence for? Because there's a difference between stillness chosen and stillness imposed. Being quiet because you're safe and being quiet because you're trapped. The freeze kid in you learned to survive by disappearing, but survival isn't the same as living. And the moment you recognize that you have the power to choose when to be still and when to be seen, everything changes. You get to decide what deserves your voice. You get to know yourself, and you get to take up space because it matters, not because you're forced to. The freeze kid in you isn't broken. The freeze kid in you kept you safe. And now that you know you can choose to be visible or invisible, You get to choose what you actually want. In family systems, we often call this the lost child, the one that no one sees. But sometimes the freeze kid is the golden child too, praised for being easy and compliant, which just reinforces the invisibility. Either way, you learned the same lesson, that your existence matters less than everyone else's comfort. Your nervous system never got the signal that the war was over. So it's still frozen, still small, still waiting for permission to exist. And the moment you recognize that, the moment you see that quiet, invisible, self-controlled kid for what it was an attempt to keep yourself safe. And when you see that, everything changes. You stop hating yourself for not having a voice. You start asking, what do I actually want? And that question is the beginning of the thawing.